I wanted to explain why I don't think that Costa Rica can be invaded. Costa Rica has no army. And Thomas Jefferson strongly argued that we should have no standing army in the United States. In fact, if you can easily Google his first letter back to Madison. It was in December of 1787. He was in Paris as the U.S. envoy to France. Madison was in the United States. He had just helped write the Constitution. He sent the first draft of the Constitution to Jefferson. It was really kind of the final draft of the Constitution to Jefferson. Jefferson sends him back a letter saying, "What I don't like about this is that it does not ban standing armies during time of peace." He had a few other things. He didn't like, no ban on commercial monopolies. There's no unremitting habeas corpus. He had a list of about 5 things that he objected to, but that was one of the most important. He did not want there to be a standing army during time of peace. And that debate, by the way, led in part to the Second Amendment. It was supposed to be that the citizens themselves would become the army if we were invaded. So just, as a little thought experiment, if you're living in Nicaragua or El Salvador or Guatemala, and I don't have a map in front of me, but I think that Costa Rica is Central America, right? Yeah, so they're in the neighborhood, right? They all have large armies. If your country gets invaded and it has a large army, and you're just the average, working schmo, right? What do? You figure the army's going to fight the war, and the army's going to win or lose it, right? But what if your country has no army? Costa Rica has no army. I mean, they might have one now, actually. I haven't looked in the last year or two, but they didn't, for a long, long time, they had no army. This was Jefferson's model. So if you're a Costa Rican and there's no army and, a nearby country decides to invade you and you're the average Joe Schmo, what do? You go out and fight you repel the invaders. This is why Switzerland had, I don't know if they do or not at this particular moment, but historically Switzerland has not had an army because every citizen in the country is the army. And Switzerland has not been successfully invaded in, over 800 years. So, if we really want to have peace in the world, as much as we give it lip service, the metaphor that we've been using that Reagan once articulated, peace through strength, is an oxymoron. It's backwards. The idea that the larger the military you have, the more secure you are as a nation, I believe is exactly the opposite of reality. Just think about it. And instead, if we want to have peace in the world, what we need to do is demilitarize the world. Instead of selling the Saudis more weapons, and not just the Saudis, I mean everybody in the Middle East, instead of giving them all more weapons so that the area can stabilize, why don't we try to demilitarize the area?